5th, 2025. Ms. Meeks, if you would please, with the roll call.
Yes, sir. Mr. Alker.
Here.
Ms. Edwards.
Present.
Ms. Durden. Here. Mr. Gravely.
Here.
Mr. Hardy.
Here.
Mr. Martin. Ms. Whitlow.
Here.
Ms. Patel.
Here.
Mr. Bateman.
Okay. All right, next item on the agenda is to approve the agenda. You all have received a copy. Is there anything that we need to add, delete, or if not, can I get a motion to approve the agenda for today?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda for today.
Mr.
Yeah.
Riley, I move that we approve Ms. Whitlow and Mr. Hardy to attend virtually.
All right, that's right. Can we get a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, probably motion and second that we approve Mr. Hardy and Ms. Whitlow to join us virtually. Call for the question. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Those opposed, so ordered. All right, now let's look at the agenda. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Proper motion and second to approve the agenda. All those in favor, show of right hand. All right, that's a unanimous, well, excluding Mr. Martin. All right, okay. Again, we want to welcome our visitors to our board meeting this morning. Glad to see you here. We hope that something will be said, done to assure you the work that we do in Henry County Public Schools is for our students, And that's one of the things that we really want to focus on, how we can continue to improve and work to improve our school division. So again, we want to thank you for being here. All right, with that being said, next item is invocation and pledge. So at this point, please stand for a moment of silence and then we will do our pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. All right, next item, public comment. This Meeks, no one has signed. We have no one signed up for any public comment, so we'll move right into our next area, which is awards and recognitions. So on the awards and recognitions, we have first student recognitions, and we have Mr. Garrett Dillard from who is the Director of Community Learning for a presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And I'm here to represent, I'm gonna say a family, not just a young lady, and I think it's important to recognize the family effort. You know, mom is a Hall of Famer, dad's an athlete, and they're using their skills and their resources to help both their students. I'm here to recognize one of those students, but Miss Caitlin Dalton, here stand. Participated in the Virginia Middle School Outdoor State Championships at Glen Allen High School on May 24th. And she competed in 2 events. And as we say Caitlin Dalton, but if you say that at Magna Vista or Laurel Park, people probably wouldn't know who you're talking about. So you better say KC. When she's playing, you know, track or basketball, you can hear mom and dad screaming that a lot. But she finished 2nd place in the shot put with a throw of 39 feet. Now, 1st place was 39 feet 5 inches, so she was that close to having 2 first place. So second place in the shot put. Come on down, Miss Caitlin, stand here. I want to encourage y'all to take a good look at this young lady because, Mom, I feel like she's gonna break some of your records, and she might be the next Hall of Famer in the family. And she went on to win the discus. She was first place with a throw of 112 feet and 10 inches. Second place was 102 feet. So that tells you how far ahead of the competition she was. And this was, middle school students from across the state of Virginia, Northern Virginia, Tidewater, Richmond, Floyd County, Danville, Pulaski, so all over the state of Virginia. And once again, I want to commend her family, her brother BJ for pushing her, and her mom for getting her out there at their home gym and working out. And I don't know how you do those workouts that Mom put you through. I've seen some of those on Facebook. So congratulations. This is your second place for the shot put and first place for the discus. Want to commend you, and we look forward to seeing you here probably every year for the next 4 years. And I also want to say Mom is her track coach at Laurel Park Middle School.
All right, next award or recognition is our Student School Board Memo Award or recognition, and this will be presented by Dr. Amy Blake Lewis, Superintendent of Henry County Public Schools.
Good morning, everyone. It is my honor to recognize one of our student school board members this morning. She has served our school board for the last 2 years, representing students at Bassett High School. She is leaving us. She graduated last week. I was able to say, hey, congratulations, when she came across the stage, so it was lots of fun. But she is leaving us and heading to Virginia Tech. And so we wanted to send her on her way with some Henry County swag, so she will always remember us. So Ms. Patel, if you'll come on up. And if you would like to help Ms. Patel with her college preparations, I'm sure she can give you a list of those things she needs to do. Okay? Thank you.
Not to put you on the spot now, but, of course, we go through our agenda and each committee reports, and then we have celebration for each member reports out. So, you got time to process all that. Just to see if you have any parting words, okay? So I'm giving you time. All right, let's see here. Next item on the agenda, information agenda. Okay. And Miss Lisa Milner, all right, Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning, will review some of our federal grants.
Thank you, Mr. Gradley. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. As you know, each year we receive federal grants, and we complete our grant writing during the months of June during June to submit for the upcoming year. Prior to completing the grants, we always do a needs assessment. We look at the data from the previous year, and we look at our needs for our school division, and then we write our grants, for the upcoming year. Okay, so, this year we will be applying for Title I, Title II, Title III, and Title IV. You can see, by the brief descriptions what each of those, stand for, and I'll elaborate just a minute. Okay, Title I, we receive approximately $2.5 million in that grant area. This provides supplemental funding for our school division. We use this in all of our elementary schools, so all of our elementary schools are considered Title I. Also, this ensures that all of our children that are meeting challenging state academic content and achievement standards, we want to make sure that we give them everything that they need to be successful. And again, this is used to supplement, not supplant. So some of the things that we spend these funds on, you can see here our reading specialists, instructional coaches, our instructional paraprofessional salaries, and then their benefits as well. A portion of the clerical staff that we have, pre-K instructional materials, we have those listed there, as well as some required set-asides. We do have to have events for parent involvement in which we bring our parents in and we inform those parents about what we have going on in our schools, as well as to instruct the parents on how to better meet the needs of their students. We also provide opportunities for our students that are homeless, so we provide additional resources for those students. Zaner Bloser, consumable materials, that's with our handwriting, Scholastic News magazines, Virginia Studies Weekly, our Nikki folders, you know, those red folders, those color folders that go home with our kids every week. Those, Newsella, Benchmark Education Intervention Program kits will be purchased. Any questions about Title I before I go on to Title II?
Ms. Miller, just as a reminder, this PowerPoint was shared with the board in a boardgram a couple weeks ago.
Yes, so I just wanted to give you an opportunity to ask any follow-up questions before we hit submit. Okay, all right, Title II, this also supports our efforts with instruction. We receive approximately $322,000. It provides us with opportunities to hire qualified teachers. It helps us with retention as well. So it supports our professional development. It also allows us to recruit for highly qualified teachers, and do things such as billboards, support for our job fairs and things like this. A lot of our professional development that we've sent teachers on and staff on is with this, our Grow Your Own. Like we're trying to provide teachers, soon to be teachers, with those instructional resources and the classes that they need, and we use those funds to help with that. Any questions about Title II?
Well,
Okay.
no, I'm just, this Title II being a significant, I guess if you will, part of what we do. Currently, we haven't gotten any notifications of any cuts out of Title II.
Not yet, no sir.
Okay,
We're remaining positive.
all right, okay.
Like you, I remember hearing some
Yes.
concern on that, but.
Okay.
So we mentioned, of course, we have the new teacher mentor program. That's so important. If we have the new teachers, we need to make sure that we provide them with mentors to support them throughout the year, as well as professional development. And Ms. Janet Lewis is our new teacher mentor leader, and she does a phenomenal job with providing professional development along with the remainder of the curriculum team. So again, tuition reimbursement, we talked about that for our teachers as far as certification, recertification, as well as obtaining licensure. Again, I mentioned the Grow Your Own, but we also have the I Teach and then the RU admin cohort that are participating as well. So job marketing, I think I've hit on all of that. Any questions about that? And then the last thing, and I'll be talking about that a little later, is Emerald Education. Okay, Title III, this provides additional supports and resources for our English language learners, and we receive approximately $50,000 for that. Family engagement is huge with our families, with our EL families as well, and so we take advantage of opportunities within the community to inform and provide those families with what they need, bringing them in as well as going to those communities as well. Again, we have the Hispanic EL Community Engagement Liaison. She has been a phenomenal asset to our team this year, as well as providing, I think we hired 4 additional translators to help with us part-time within our school community, and that's been huge as well. And then the Elevation, that's a program that we house all of our EL plans with. And then Flashlight 360, that's professional development as well as a resource for our instruction in our EL classrooms. Finally, it's Title IV. This is pretty much student-supported academic enrichment. This can hit on a lot of different areas. Mr. Keith Scott works a lot with this particular grant. Pretty much everything that we do has to go back to making sure our students are well-rounded, safe and healthy environment for our students to learn, as well as technology. So you think about that, we pretty much can make everything fall under this category, but our ultimate goal is to increase graduation rates, reduce chronic absenteeism, and to provide a safe and healthy environment. Again, with the well-rounded, we did use those funds to help pay for the AP testing that took place, auditorium curtain upgrades, the instructional supplies, materials, competition dues, employee stipends, benefits for our robotics team, the FLL and FTC competition teams that go along with the robotics. Security cameras and exterior door locks with some additional things that we were able to take care of. That we're planning to do. We've done some of that work and we're planning to do more of it this upcoming year. And then finally, with the effective use of technology, supporting our staff with attending the Virginia Society for Technology and Education Conference. So again, I know that was shared with you previously, but just wanted to share, making sure you didn't have any additional questions before we submit those grants.
Question from the board?
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Well, I see that our chair has arrived, therefore, I will pass the gavel back up to him.
And as I told one of our members of the media who were getting up here at the same time, he said, "Why are you not here?" And I was like, "Well, one, I got stuck behind one of those oversized trailers blocking the highway." But, so it's funny when I was, hearing if we might need virtuals, this, that, and the other, the last person I thought of might have an issue was myself, but hey, here we go. It happens to everybody. So, well, thank you very much, Mr. Gravel, for kicking off. And the next item I believe we're up to is the 2025 climate survey results.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I will stay here since my device is being used for
Sure.
our virtual folks. So thank you, Ms. Fulcher, for starting that. So every year, Henry County Public Schools engages our employees in a survey to better understand the climate that our employees are experiencing. And so this is a summation of some of those responses from the annual survey. So just a little bit about the methodology. This year, our survey questions were taken from the School Climate Survey for Instructional Staff that is produced by the U.S. Department of Education's National Center for Education Statistics. So it is a norm-referenced survey that yields very reliable results. The questions were previewed with principals at our May administrators meeting, and directions were given for the surveys to be administered at a faculty meeting or in a grade level or content area meeting to ensure participation and completion of the survey. And we limited the window of response to the week of May 12th through the 16th. What we have found is that if we put a survey out there and say you've got a month to take it, typically those response rates are abysmal. And so when you know that it's, hey, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna ask you to do this survey today, everyone kind of gets it done because you plan for that time in which to complete it. And so that was our methodology. This graph just shows the percentage of the different job categories that responded. You'll see overwhelmingly, most of our employees fall into that category of teacher and counselor, 69%. But you see that there was representation across the board of all of our different instructional or our school-based staff who participated in the survey. Remarkably, when we administer the survey this way, we have 722 staff that are considered instructional. And so we had a response rate of 98.2%. 709 of 722 instructional staff were able to respond to this survey. And so that small number that didn't respond could be due to they were absent that day, got pulled into a different meeting and weren't able to complete the survey. But 709 of 722, which tells me that this information is going to be very reliable because it speaks to 98% of our workforce responding. So some general observations that I was able to make with the survey data, these were the positive things. A feeling of belonging from our staff. There is comfort with discussing matters with their principal. There's a feeling of safety at our schools. Our people are knowledgeable and understanding of how to respond in the event of an emergency. They feel that there is adequate classroom space for them to do their job of instructing our students. They have the appropriate supplies that are needed. And our staff engage in recognition of positive student behavior. So some of the questions that led us to those conclusions, obviously this one's very direct. I feel like I belong at this school. And so you're looking for responses that are in that colored area of blue and red. Blue meaning strongly agree, red meaning agree. So you can see an overwhelming majority of the responders indicated they feel a sense of belonging at their school. The next question, I feel comfortable discussing feelings, worries, and frustrations with building level administration. And again, we're looking for the red and the blue. So again, you see an overwhelming, about 75% there, 78, I do my math right. About 78% of our folks indicated, I'm comfortable talking about things with my principal. I feel safe at this school. Again, we're looking for comments in the red and the blue. So you see 55% agree and another 35% strongly agree. So overwhelmingly, our folks feel safe in our buildings. These two questions, again, deal with emergency. I know what to do in the event of an emergency. An overwhelming percentage there responded, yes, I know. There are a few who said, no, I don't know, and that could be that they're new. Right? It could have been someone who was recently hired, but we'll figure out who those folks are and make sure that they get the proper training. And the next question, I'm familiar with the crisis plan. Again, those responses of red and blue indicating strongly agree and agree. Our folks are familiar with our crisis plan. And I think that Mr. Scott does an excellent job of making sure that we are all well-versed in our response in the event of crisis. And then my teaching is hindered by a lack of instructional space. So this was the question where we wanted to know, do you feel like you don't have enough space? So for this one, we were looking for a disagree. And, you know, this is a statement to disagree with. And again, we saw in that yellow, 64% said, no, my teaching isn't hindered by the lack of space. And then the green, strongly disagree. So that's what we were looking for in this question. So overwhelmingly, teachers are indicating, I've got the space that I need to do my job. And the next question, the programs and resources at the school are adequate to support student learning. Again, we're looking for the red and blue, so overwhelmingly you see that 71.2% agree that I've got the resources that I need, they're adequate. And then another 14% strongly agree with that statement. Staff at this school recognize students for positive behavior. So again, a very large percentage indicate, yeah, we're recognizing kids when they're doing good things. Now, on the flip side of that, surveys can also help us to pinpoint areas where we have opportunities to grow. So some that were highlighted include staff involvement in decision-making at the school level, cleanliness of schools, follow-up on new programs, programs for students with disabilities, staff and student wellness, social and emotional well-being of students, and student discipline and behavior management. And so some of the questions that we were able to pull that observation from are also here. The first one, administration involves staff in decision-making. And so again, you're wanting to look for red and blue, and while there's a strong percentage there, that yellow and green box is a little bigger than it was in some other questions. You've got 22% who disagree, and roughly another 5% or so there that strongly disagree. So that tells us that we need to do some work with empowering our teachers to be part of that decision-making process. The school is clean and pleasant. You've got 19.9% who disagree with that and 8.6% who strongly disagree. So we're gonna need to have some conversations with our contracted services about the cleanliness in our buildings, because that is a significant number that are telling us that they don't feel their building is clean and pleasant. Once we start a new program at this school, we follow up to make sure that it's working. So again, while we have a strong percentage there in the red and the blue, we've got a growing proportion there in that yellow and green that disagree and strongly disagree with that statement. So when we start new initiatives, there may be some schools that are pretty good with the follow-up and making sure that it's being implemented correctly, or that they're being supported with the implementation. And this tells me that maybe there are some pockets where that support may not be as strong. So we'll be taking a look at that. The programs and resources at this school are adequate to support students with special needs. So when we're looking at teacher perception of programs that support our special needs students, we've got a significant number there. We've got 18.2 that disagree and another 2 to 3% who strongly disagree. So we've got more than 20% of our staff are saying, we may need to look at some of these special ed programs for our students. These two questions deal with social and emotional need. The school places a priority on helping staff with social and emotional needs, and the school places a priority on helping students with social, emotional, and behavioral problems. And so you can see that yellow box of disagree is fairly large for these two particular questions, which means that we're going to need to invest some time and some energy in looking into exactly what it is that we're doing to support social, emotional needs of both our staff and our students. The school provides materials, resources, and training necessary for me to support students' social and emotional needs. And so we've got a significant number there, 21.3, and in that green, another couple of percentage responding there, that they feel like we need some more materials to be able to do that work. School rules are applied equitably, and then at this school, discipline is fair. So we know that discipline is always a topic of conversation in schools. This question to me indicates that there is some concern over how discipline measures are applied in different schools and whether or not they are applied equally and equitably across grade levels and from school to school, region to region within our school division. And this school effectively handles student discipline and behavior problems. And so when we're asking people to gauge the effectiveness of how we are managing student behavior, you can see a growing number there in the yellow and the green responding of disagree and strongly disagree. So of all of the areas highlighted, this is one of our primary concerns that we have going into next school year, which will be, of course, taking some of our time, a lot of our time actually, in better meeting the needs of students when it comes to discipline and behavior. So of course we can highlight a problem, but unless you highlight a way to address it, it's pointless. So here are some of our plans to address these concerns that were raised by the survey. First of all, if we're talking about addressing those concerns from teachers around discipline and behavior and managing that, Safe and Civil Schools training for all classroom teachers, we actually just completed the first round of that this week. We pulled in VTSS coaches, counselors, and assistant principals to take part in the first round of the 2-day training. Safe and Civil Schools is a program, I like to refer to it as a way of being, that will help us to kind of standardize our approach to expectations for behavior across our schools. Regardless of grade span, regardless of region of the county, it's a standardized approach to expectations for behavior. And we're training all of our teachers in this method so that there's consistency as our students move from kindergarten to 5th grade to 8th grade to 12th grade, that this will be a very standard approach to behavior expectations in Henry County schools. The second round of training for the bulk of our teachers is scheduled on 2 teacher workdays in November, November 3rd and 4th. All of our teaching staff will engage in this training as well. We're continuing our focus on the Virginia tiered system of supports, and that is including some special training for administrators this summer. We're also adding some online resources to help us with this process. Educator's Handbook is a way to track and monitor disciplinary events so that you can see when students are frequently offending with certain expectations, and we can track and monitor those interventions to help those students learn to better self-regulate. EduClimber will help us in an academic way of making sure that when we see a student struggling, we're able to intervene quickly. We are adding some positions to our special education department. These special education leads will support the programs for students with disabilities, so just another layer of support for those students. The addition of Dean of Students at the middle schools and security offers at the high school will of course support those discipline concerns that we saw from the survey. Focusing on staff well-being is part of our strategic plan initiative, and that is something that will be approved here today. And then principals, we're having some conversations with them during summer leadership about how to better leverage their school improvement teams, their department chairs, and other structures already in place in that decision-making process at the school level. So we want to make sure that our teachers know that we're hearing those concerns through this survey, and we're actively taking steps to address it. Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are a lot of these, I'm guessing, things that you've heard from the committees that you've had throughout the year, like your teacher committee, like, or have those been?
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
Okay.
You know, there were no surprises. As an additional layer to this, I've given each principal a spreadsheet of their individual school data, and they will be bringing their analysis of that to me during their end-of-year evaluation conference with me, and those kick off next week. So we will break it down by school as well, and if there's a particular topic or a question that came up that is school-specific to them as being something out of that normal range, I will be asking the principal to make a plan to address it within his or her building.
So, I know one question somewhat similar to Mrs. Durden's that I've had that you just answered. But I was wondering if we saw any particular, say, pocket of teachers, whether it be, I don't know, these are itinerants, et cetera, who are saying, hey, I do lack the classroom space or this, that, and the other, even if that's across the schools. Because the first thought I had was the school-based.
Sure, I haven't analyzed it at that level
Understood.
just yet, because of course we were wrapping up the school year.
Correct.
But those are all valid questions, and we can dig into the data a little bit more to see if it is specific to a certain school even, because we know that some of our school buildings were designed, you know, many, many years ago. Classroom space is much smaller as opposed to some of our newer schools that have, you know, larger, more expansive areas. So yeah, we'll be able to break all of that down.
As I mentioned before, 98% response rate. I think Australia even has mandatory voting and doesn't get 98% participation. So.
Well, that was gonna be my comment in that, cause, you know, we've done these surveys in the past, and I would always bring up the question about staff participation.
Yes.
So with this survey, publicly, I wanna thank and commend the staff for participating, because, you know, as you went through the plan, in order for us to make decisions to improve, we got to get that type of feedback. And so I just, you're right, 98%, that's pretty good.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely.
So I just want to thank them for participating.
And I mean, let's talk about just the standard, you know, I always refer to, and you've brought that up over the years, the standard election participation rates. A local election is gonna have anywhere from about 30% participation in an off-off year. A presidential year is gonna have 70-75%. You're beating that by 20+%. So,
I think it also just speaks to the comfort of our staff, the growing comfort of our staff in voicing their concerns.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, there have always been concerns of, well, is this truly anonymous?
Yeah.
And I think the fact that, you know, we're not pinpointing and trying to dissect the information in a way that we can pinpoint who you are. That's not what this is about. It's about generalizations and finding those trends and then being able to address those big ticket items. And this data definitely helps us to pinpoint those things and help us to, formulate a plan to address it.
And that's so true. Personally, I know I would spend all year long encouraging staff. We don't see the design. I have no idea who sent
I don't
this
know who
in.
you are.
So getting them comfortable, you're right, I think that really paid off.
I mean, for example, even when we're talking about dissecting the data, it's more about, okay, can we fix if there's an issue at this school for these people or this block of teachers, not that one.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
Correct. All right, thank you.
no, thank you. All right, so that finishes the information agenda, and we are now up to the consent agenda, which I do not know if 11 items is the biggest consent agenda I've seen in 9 years. But do you all have or want to entertain a motion to approve as a block, or is there anything that wants to be pulled separately?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
All right, so Mrs. Durden with the motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Alker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, we are unanimous. All right, we are up to the action agenda. So the first item is approval of the authorization of signatures in the absence of the superintendent for 2025-2026.
Yes, sir. The Virginia Department of Education requires annual action by the school board to authorize someone to sign off documents in the absence of the superintendent. And so it is my recommendation that Ms. Lisa Milner, Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, be authorized to sign Virginia Department of Education correspondence, reports, documents, and other items in the event of my absence.
All right, any questions? Any motion?
So moved.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Gravely. Do we have a second?
Second.
Saw Mrs. Durden's mouth start, but heard Mrs. Edwards. So we're going with Mrs. Edwards. So all those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, we got unanimous. We've got a little of a lag, whether it be virtual or here, but yeah, everybody's hand went up. All right, so we are now up to approval of purchase of infrastructure upgrades. Ms. Fulcher.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As we continue with our ongoing infrastructure upgrades to provide reliable and adequate internet coverage and bandwidth to all schools, the Technology Department has identified the need for the replacement of servers that host the school district. The upgrades will provide warranties as well as upgradable hardware with security enhancements. The solution is scalable and will offer flexible solutions to our technology staff as the need for network service and services arise. It is recommended that the school board approve the purchase of infrastructure upgrades from E+ using TIPS contract number 230105 with a fiscal impact of $100,161.78 from FY25 instruction and/or technology budgets.
Questions? Anybody?
I make a motion that we accept this proposal.
All right, well, we've got our motion, we've got our second. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Online,
Oh, I'm sorry.
all right, y'all good? All right, unanimous. So we are up to approval to purchase and install air conditioning for sped buses.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. There are currently 21 sped buses that do not have air conditioning. Kingmore Supply out of Mount Crawford, Virginia is currently a sole source provider for the installation of air conditioning for sped buses. Total cost to purchase and install the air conditioning units for the 21 buses is $321,000. And if you're curious about the breakdown, the Type C buses, where it's a little bit cheaper than the Type A buses, when I asked about that, it's because the room to work around the engine it is bigger in the Type C buses, and those are actually our larger buses. So I thought it was kind of curious that for the larger sped buses, it was about $1,000 cheaper. So for the smaller sped buses, you got less room to work in the engine, so that's why they're a little bit higher. But it is the recommendation to purchase and install the air conditioning units from King Moore Supply for 21 sped buses to be approved.
Any questions, discussion?
Question, what's the timeline? If we-
That's a great question. I'm hoping by the beginning of the year.
So, these are just our sped
Just their
buses.
sped buses.
And all these other buses,
Yeah,
in particular these new buses that we purchased, are they air conditioned?
they're not, no, sir.
Yeah, I was surprised by that before too.
But
In theory, with the school year the way it is and the way it's running, it's okay. I mean, it's not overly hot. Getting out before June.
and if you're curious about the cost to do all our buses, it would be over $2 million to do all your regular buses.
Yeah,
Some of our sped kids have issues with body temperature regulation, and they're in their, they're strapped in their wheelchairs, or they're having to wear those Houdini braces, so it does add an extra layer of clothing and, material that can make them really hot on the sped buses.
I was just curious about the other buses in there.
That's a good question.
Okay.
And it kind of came to my attention, this wasn't necessarily an issue that I had considered that much until a board member from a neighboring county was asking me about this and also wanting to look at potentially fundraising for such a initiative for them. So I'll talk about fundraising and other things later, but that was kind of what, otherwise I would have not known, and I had the same thought and question of, wouldn't the newer buses have that, or, you know? I understand our 30-something-year-old buses we're replacing would not.
I mean, they can, but it's no charge.
Yeah. Well, any other questions, thoughts, et cetera, or a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the purchase and installation of air conditioning units for the 21 sped buses.
All right, got a motion by Mrs. Dirk, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Evers. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. We are unanimous, thank you very much. Now we are up to award of contract for food supplies.
Proposals were solicited to establish a contract with a full-line vendor for the supply of food supplies to the school cafeterias. Only one response was received, providing bid prices for the food specified in the request for proposal and a full proposal for services for the cafeterias. The responding vendor was RRS Food Service, a division out of Culpeper, of the Culpeper Company. This company has provided outstanding service to Henry County Public Schools for the past 5 years, and total calculated cost of the food products for the contract aligned with our cafeteria budget. It is the recommendation to the school board of approval for the contract for the provision of cafeteria food supplies to RRS Food Service. Again, a division of JL Culpeper, located in Ashland, for the upcoming school year, with the option to renew for 4 additional years.
Questions?
So is this contract, see, this is just for the year, right? With
It is,
the option
with the
to
option.
renew.
4 times.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm just thinking in terms of food prices these days and how food prices might increase. And I guess they go up or we absorb.
I can tell you right now, Ms. Lexa does a great job of analyzing that data. And most time with these bids, there's a clause in there that says that they can't go above certain percentage of what the standard market price is.
Right.
But I can promise you, Ms. Lexa, if something like that were to occur, she would, look at other options if this didn't work out.
Right.
She's very frugal.
Right.
That is the benefit of it being a mutual agreement option.
Okay.
But it is a cost of about $1.5 million every year for the nutrition budget.
Any questions, discussion, motion?
And I move that we approve, the award contract food services for the cafeterias for
a second?
Mr. Chairman, I second the motion.
All right, we got a second from Mr. Hardy. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, unanimous, thank you very much. We are now up to approval to purchase and install backup cameras on school buses, and we stick with Dr.
Now, this will be for all school buses. So currently, Henry County Public Schools do not have backup cameras for the buses. Henry County Public Schools are provided with written quotes from 3 vendors. Kingmore Supply out of Mount Crawford, Virginia, submitted the lowest quote for the purchase and installation of backup cameras. The total cost for 130 buses is $157,000, $157,742. And you can see the 3 vendors that submitted prices. It's recommended that the purchase and installation of backup cameras from Kingmore for the 130 buses be approved with that estimated fiscal impact of $157,742 out of this year's transportation budget.
All right, any questions, discussion?
Do you know a timeline on this?
I'm hoping by the beginning of the year. I do know that Kingmore is pretty busy, so but we continue to push our vendors to try to get these things in we can.
Yeah, I was gonna make the joke, so I'll come in 4,000 cheaper, but I might take a little.
Right.
But,
Mr. Chairman, move to approve.
all right, got a motion by Mrs. Durgan, do we have a second? Second by Mr. Gravely. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. All right. Approval to purchase Emerald Education, Dr. Boone's off the hook for us.
Okay, I stand before you to speak about the Emerald Education. You all are familiar with the successful math feasibility study that was conducted by Emerald Education in the spring of 2025. Henry County Public Schools will partner with that organization for the 25-26 school year. This comprehensive collaboration will involve Emerald Education providing math professional development to our administrators, math coordinators, as well as our math teachers. A significant aspect of this professional development will be the review and revision of the existing math curriculum. Emerald Education will play a key role in developing and implementing a new math vision for the entire school division. To support this work, Henry County Public Schools plans to purchase math kits that will equip teachers with essential instructional skills. These kits will specifically consist of games that will assist with instruction in an engaging and fun way. The culminating activity for the first year of this project will be a mini math conference specifically for Henry County's math teachers. It is recommended that the board approve the purchase of Emerald Education for the 25-26 school year in the amount of $307,237.50.
Questions, discussion?
I have a question. I know we went over this is what we talked about during our work session, right? And very impressed with, everything that they told us that they saw as quickly as they did. Is there a typical thing to do it for 1 year, or is it like, it
It's
may
actually,
take 3 years?
it's a multi-year process.
Okay, that's what I thought, as much as they had and said that we needed to.
This is
slow it
really
down.
a phase 1.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
So, but
You might have
at this
somebody-
price though, this is not a yearly price.
That is for the first year, yes, but keep in mind that that is entailing, kit resources for teachers, it's professional learning, it's working with a group of folks to kind of establish a math vision, for our math departments. So there's a lot of work going into that price point.
You're close to where I was on that, Mr. Gravely. I was gonna say, and no offense to Mr. Scott over there, I'm a little leery of the word phases after Bassett, and its renovations, and how pricing went up on him and me during that. So, that was kind of the question I had there, Mr. Gravely. Any other questions, discussion, et cetera?
So do you think in a year's time, we're gonna be able to accomplish a large percentage of this?
in a year's time, what's listed there has been mapped out to be accomplished. What you see there will be done, yes.
My follow-up is again close to yours, Mr. Gravely, was, into my earlier statement, how many phases are we looking at?
I think it was 3.
Okay,
3 phases to get us where we need to be with our math instruction. If you'll remember, one of Dr. Curtis's comments when she presented to the board at your work session in May was around that whole concept of within the division with limited staff, when we have to focus on those day-to-day operations, it's very difficult to assign people within the division that planning of the larger professional development or the planning of how to get people together and establish that vision for math instruction. That is the work that Emerald Education is going to be collaborating with us to accomplish. So Ms. Mead and Ms. Helbert and Ms. Milner can continue their daily work of supporting instruction, but this is that on the backside to grow our teachers with their skill set and their capabilities in the classroom to become very strong in their mathematics instruction.
So is there any projection of what the cost would be for year 2 and 3?
It may be on a similar to less level, because you front load a lot, right? And then you kind of taper down from there.
yeah, I figured you were front loading, I just wasn't sure of how much.
Right. So for example, the math kits that are listed there, that's a one-time purchase,
Yeah.
right? And then you wouldn't see that reoccur.
Any further questions, discussion, or motion?
I think it's important to note that it goes along with the, if something doesn't work or if it isn't what we expect it to be, we haven't just purchased a 5-year plan. We have
Correct.
it this year
Correct.
to show what it is to
Correct.
move forward.
Yep. And addresses a point of emphasis for us. So, any other question, discussion, or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the purchase of Emerald Education Professional Development Elevation Station math games for K to Algebra 1, the digital and physical kits as presented.
All right, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Edwards. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Now up to the approval of the local plan for education. Ms. Lewis.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Lovely to see you here, and I am here to share with you all our new plan for the education of the gifted. Per Virginia Code, divisions every 6 years revise and update their plans. We looked at it last year with the input of the Gifted Advisory Committee. I made lots of revisions and updates and changes, submitted it to the DOE in the fall for a technical review. We received that feedback. I again met with the Gifted Advisory Committee, and we have put together the plan that I'm submitting to you today. The biggest change in the new plan, I'm very excited to say, is that we'll be adding for the 25-26 school year 3 gifted resource teachers. We have not had gifted resource teachers in Henry County for many, many years. I was a teacher at Bassett Middle School the last time we had people in those positions, and with the input of Dr. Lewis, we are bringing them back. So 2 have been approved already by you all, the elementary teacher for the Bassett zone and the elementary teacher for the Magna Vista zone. I think that the middle school teacher is on your list for approval personnel today. A recommendation was made to hire. They are highly accomplished, and I'm very excited to be working with them to bring services to our identified gifted students. We will be focusing on grades 3 through 8 to begin with, and then in a few years, we'll see if we need to add additional positions. Everybody's been asking, well, what is it gonna look like? I don't know yet. We will be meeting on July 8th to map out what that plan will be. My goal is to have a schedule and a kind of a protocol for first semester that we share with principals at the administrative retreat in July. And then at the end of first semester, we will reevaluate. Is it working appropriately? Do we have adjustments that need to be made? And then we will share that with principals for second semester. And then next summer, we'll revise again. One of the questions in the interviews was, how comfortable are you with building a program from scratch? And that was a key piece of people that we chose to serve in this capacity. So I look forward to to sharing updates as things move forward, but principals will have that vision, at their administrative retreat. Any questions about the gifted resource teachers? Okay. Other changes in the plan is that since the last plan, we have added visual and performance arts as an area of identification. Prior to that, we had only identified in general intellectual ability, and these are categories mapped out by the state. And so we added visual and performing arts, and that identification is happening at the 6th grade when they have very different types of visual and performing arts classes. And I'll be actually reviewing next week the recommendations for next year. We have started using Parent Square for direct communication with our families. We have done kind of a mishmash of things over the years, some more effective than others, but a lot of direct mailings. And old time snail mail isn't always useful. Sometimes email goes through, sometimes it doesn't, but we do have a high participation of parents on Parent Square, so we've started using that. We are considering a change in our initial identification screener. So every year we screen all 2nd graders, and that starts the identification process for our students. We've been using COGAT, and we are looking at perhaps changing to NAT 4. I believe we're up to NAT 4 and Finaglieri test, but that change will come with conversation with the new gifted resource teachers who have experience in these areas. And we're also going to be increasing input from our gifted advisory committee. Currently, we meet once a year, and there wasn't a whole lot to discuss. And then moving forward, I think we're gonna have a lot more to talk about. So I'm looking forward to working with them. We have parent members, faculty members, guidance counselors, school counselors, sorry, and administrators on that committee, as well as central office staff. And so I'm looking forward to getting their feedback on how we're doing with this expanded gifted plan. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. I noticed the last bullet, I think, screening process. All right, so once they in, are they in, can they exit?
They have the option to exit. It is outlined in the plan, the process for that happening. Since I've been in this position, which has been 4 or 5, maybe 6 years now, we have not had anyone request to exit, but there is a procedure outlined if a parent feels that they do not want their child to be in the program. They have to opt in, and they always have the opportunity to opt out. If a parent does not opt them out, they do stay identified gifted for the remainder of their high school careers, school
Right.
careers.
Which brings me up to my next question. They in there even though they may not be performing at the gifted level, so they still identified as
So,
gifted.
the screener that we use is more about ability than achievement. And then teachers are provided with the names of those students who are identified as gifted. And if there's a discrepancy, that is something that I sometimes am brought in to address and discuss. With the gifted resource teachers, I'm hoping we'll have more resources so the kids that were identified will perform at that high level. Not all kids will ever, live up to their potential, but I think we're giving more resources to teachers and families to help kids meet that potential.
I'll just say I love your question there, Mr. Gravely, because I've had that type of question in the past. I call it the Hotel California problem. You can check out, but you can never leave. So, any other questions, discussion, et cetera?
Do we have a procedure or policy when somebody moves here
Yes.
that isn't in 2nd grade?
Mm.
Okay.
Yes, so if a student moves and has been identified gifted in their previous district, we automatically accept them. If a student was not identified in the initial screener in 2nd grade, by 6th grade, like, wow, this kid is really amazing. I frequently get, not frequently, probably 12-year, I have referrals from schools, from parents, from fellow students, for students that people believe are gifted and should be, and then we have a procedure that we follow. And I frequently identify kids who are not 2nd graders.
Other questions, discussion?
Well, I'm just glad to be really starting to utilize the program as a gifted program and add it not only just from the academic, but the visual and performing arts piece. Because, again, I think we
moved away from the gifted resource teacher's position when we went to a differentiation instruction model. But as we have seen, while that will benefit the vast majority of kids, both ends of the spectrum, bottom and top with ability, really are not met by differentiation. And so I'm glad that we have the supports for our special education students, and now we'll have supports for our gifted, identified gifted students. So I'm very excited.
So, any further question, discussion, or motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the local plan for gifted education.
Alright, so motion by Ms. Durden, we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Hawker. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Alright, unanimous, thank you very much. So we are all the way up to superintendent's reports, Dr. Williams.
So my superintendent monthly highlight report is a compilation of photos from the school year as we close out the year. I will tell you, it is something did not go right. Well, it is 8 minutes long, so we will watch it as long as you desire to watch it. We can stop it at any time, just give me the high sign. But this is our year in review. all of those special events that were happening. And so, yes, we have already started to move into branding with our new strategic plan. Of course, our word for that is RISE, respect, integrity, success, and equity. And so, that's what we're instilling in our students every day.
That was awesome.
Yeah, cause I'm watching every picture, trying to figure out what did we miss, and I can't think of anything.
No, sir. That,
Yeah,
an
we hit
entire
'em all.
year in an 8-minute video.
Yeah.
So that's it. No, so thank you for letting us, share that with you today.
That was great.
Yeah, no, thank you very much.
Yes.
Alright. Well, if there's no questions for Dr. Blake Lewis on that for now, we're up to committee reports. So first in our normal order is curriculum and instruction, so Mr. Gravely and Mr. Alka.
All right, just want to bring the board up to date on summer learning opportunities for the school division. I'll share some of the things that we have going on, and if you have any questions and wish further elaboration, we'll call on Ms. Milner to give us more details. But we do have summer school going for elementary and middle schools. High schools, the session starts June, and the focus is gonna be on literacy and math. For the high school, the session mainly is gonna be on credit recovery. We got the Explore Camp going on July 7th through 10. Again, elementary and middle school students, number of classes there, animal adventures, arts and craft, animation, rocket building, cooking, Lego, robotics, just to give you an idea there. Summer STEM and reading, community outreach at Fidel Pool. This will be on Wednesdays from 2 to 4. All right, we got the Career Academy Ag Camp. This is gonna be July 28th through 31st for grades 4 through 7. And we have the elementary summer reading. The book is gonna be Dogtown. I think probably everybody in this room basically is reading that same book, or we're going to read that book.
And we have time slots reserved for board members to read some chapters and be recorded as well, so.
Right. So that gives you an idea as to our summer learning opportunities there. So if you had any questions, you can direct them to Ms. Miller.
Thank you very much. Anything to add, Mr. Alka, you good?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You did an excellent job.
All right, well then we're up to finance and facilities. I always want to rotate it and make it facilities and finance or some other combination, but Mrs. Durden and Mrs. Willard.
We had a meeting yesterday. The big thing, of course, we always go over what we're getting ready to speak about in the meeting. Any questions we may have, clarification, we went over that and what we'll be talking about next week, which I'll have already for our agenda and information for next week. The big thing to come out of it, Mr. Alker requested the Department of Transportation look at Magna Vista, and I believe the Department of Transportation said that they were gonna put in a turn lane. Hopefully sooner rather than later. They made it sound like when I heard it at the board of supervisors meeting that it would be done pretty quickly, second in line. Ms. Whitlow, did you have anything to add to that?
No, Dr. Boone went over it when he presented basically the buses getting air conditioning, those sped buses and, those types of things. So yes, the big thing was they brought them in a small turn-in lane. Hopefully that will help some.
I was just gonna say, for y'all, I know that, at least in the boardgram, the summation of all the facilities, projects
Summer
going.
projects.
Exactly, I was like, that is a lengthy list over there, so, kudos to Mr. Scott and team and y'all's committee as well. Well, if nothing else there, then we are up to student services, so that would be, Mrs. Edwards and Mr. Hardy. Mrs. Edwards, you wanna kick off?
Mr. Hardy and I, we talked briefly, about, for our area, to recognize, the students in terms of graduations this year, in terms of just kudos and hats off to them and their accomplishments. Sitting in awe at the graduations at Bassett and at Magna Vista. Just, the accomplishments that our students have made over the course of their time in school. Also the parent support in terms of their students. Also the young man at Bassett with perfect attendance for 13 years, and I'd like to see that student, highlighted, in the weekly, thing that we get.
Okay, the
Yeah.
board grant. and
Board grant
We
and
can
the,
add that to our website as well.
yes, I think that bears, celebration. And Mr. Hardy may have more, cause he attended the 5th grade, I think, and 8th grade, so he may have something to add.
I was gonna say, I know Mr. Hardy attended, quite a few of the, year-end grade level.
Grade level.
So, Mr. Hardy, you got anything to add?
Yes, sir. I got a few things to add. One of the largest, or probably the most important honor that a high school student can receive is walking across that football field at Magna Vista or Bassett and receiving that high school diploma. I had the honor this year for the first time in detail to attend elementary award program and the recognition of students going from the 5th grade up to the 6th grade next year. And that is quite an event to attend. The first thing that they do in most cases, get all the students together down there at the front of the stage, and then the auditorium is packed with students, parents, grandparents, and so on. After that, they come up one at a time. The teachers will come up, the teachers and the principals will call them up at one at a time. In most schools, they get a citizenship award, they get an academic award, and they get one more award. So sometimes those little kids will put those folders that they get, or the certificates they get, in a folder. And sometimes when they're walking across the stage, after the front of the stage, they might drop one every now and then. So the parents will rush up there, pick those up, and make sure that they don't lose them or get them at the end. And the last thing that usually happens is the 5th graders are kind of pretty much dressed up like a high school senior, and they are promoted to the 6th grade or middle school level. So that's concludes my report, and thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy, and I'll just say, and I know Mr. Gravely was there when, one year at the conference on education, I was given an award to a school division that they fumbled it. So it's not just an elementary school student, situation of dropping an award, but, they handled it through, their parents didn't rush the stage though. But, thank you very much. Now, we are up to, if Ms. Patel's Student School Board Committee has anything to say.
Yes, first, I wanted to thank everyone here for having me here and being kind to me. I do feel very honored to have the opportunity to serve here for 2 years. I definitely think that Bassett has improved a lot since last year, so I hope they keep growing. And I wanted to give a little shout out to Miss Miller because she helped me a lot with scholarships and everything, and for everything she's done and she's doing, and as well as Miss Fulcher. Thank you a lot for having me and helping me out here.
I was just gonna say, how much, we have appreciated having Ms. Patel, and the one thing I hate that I missed in my 5 minutes was the recognition of you here at the beginning, but loved and hated seeing you graduate because I don't want you to go. But you know, again, we are very proud of you and your accomplishments. Look forward to your future and anything that we can do to support you. We're here for you, okay? Thank you. All right, well then we are up to board celebrations, and I will turn it right back around. Mr. Gravely, you got anything?
A couple of things. Yes, Ms. Patel. Kudos to you. Thank you for serving on our board. Really appreciate your type of feedback that you provided, to us, your school. That's what we need. That's the whole purpose of students being on the board. You're in the trenches. You see things that we don't see, and it's great to hear from you guys. So thank you. I wish you well. Dr. Blake Lewis indicated in her presentation, if you need anything, let us know. I'm extending that personal invitation. Truly, if you need something, you let me know.
Thank you, Mr. Gravely. Mr. Ogden.
I have a couple of things. First of all, I'm looking forward to the gifted and talented. I think it's going to be super. It's been a long time since we've had that. I do apologize for missing the graduations. I was looking forward to it, but there were other circumstances that dropped in. And Linda and I were working on our fish pond. We have a fish pond that we tried to develop for the last 5-6 years. And this year we had it to perfection, except I lost my balance. And fell on my wife.
Oh, see, I haven't had this detail yet.
Well, luckily, she was not hurt, but I had to hurt my knee. And so I am walking around with a cane right now. But I blame Mrs. Amy Blake Lewis. She has run this board ragged.
No apologies. No apologies.
I will say I'm not surprised, but no, I have personally, I have I have learned a lot in this past year, because things that we have the opportunity to do, we have got to do them in order to make our schools what they need to be. So I commend you and the board in the work that they are achieving, all yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alker. All right, Mrs. Whitlow. All right, Mrs. Whitlow defers. Mrs. Dirk.
A couple things. I know everybody congratulated the graduates, but I would like to point out a lot of us got to go to the GED and ISAAP graduation, and while it was small in number, it was it's always great to see us have the ability to have programs like that, people that may not graduate otherwise to have that. It was really great to attend. And I want to just give kudos to Meadowview Elementary. They won a competition with tabs for cans, and they got to visit with Grimace from McDonald's, and the local McDonald's gave everybody a coupon for free ice cream. But to point that out, as Meadowview is one of my schools, they invite me to a lot of things, and their media specialists and PE teachers and guidance counselors have just gone above and beyond to make sure that those students are a team and respectful, and it's just great to see them excited, but also very well-mannered. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dirk. All right, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, sir. I have two main items I want to discuss, or just separate issues. We got the state FFA convention
like to say, first of all, I am beyond grateful again for this opportunity that I've had since April Fool's Day.
I wondered if you were gonna call that out.
And, I just have a greater appreciation for Henry County Public Schools. I mean, I already thought that things were good, but I just am overwhelmed by, what I have learned, what I have observed over just these few months. I applaud Superintendent Blake Lewis, who puts students first, and it's evident, but she also appreciates the work of bees and the board and all of her, leadership teams and and staff overall. So I have seen that for myself, so when I hear people say, but she doesn't, she may not care or whatever, I said, you don't know her. You need to get to know her and get closer to the work and things that she's about and that she's doing, and it is evident, to me just in this short term. I was invited to, go to a few schools, and my schedule didn't allow it this year, and I knew I couldn't get to all of them, but I do look forward to being able to visit, and be in the schools more, in the 25-26 school term, as well. I had an opportunity to, attend the, Virginia School Board Association's School Law Conference on Friday in Richmond, Virginia, and it was wonderful. Just amazing being amongst all those attorneys and, various other school board members. Sands Anderson was, one of the, sponsors, along with, VA Corps, and the teacher in me said, take something back to your constituents, so I have a little token for all of the board members. I put a little goodie bag together for you all. They were vending there as well in terms of had some things. But the conference was very informative and very enlightening, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Ms. Meeks, for getting me registered. Appreciate being able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Edwards. All right, now, Ms. Patel, I know we kind of already put you on the spot once. I know you often don't love that we do that, but do you want to do one more time for me?
Yeah, I wanted to thank Mr. Gravely for offering to help me out with college stuff. That really means a lot, and I want everyone to know that as excited as I am to start my new journey, I will also miss this, coming to the meetings and back to high school, because I won't be walking there in the hallways like a student. I will be a visitor now, and just know I'll miss this, and thank you for everything.
So I just want to go ahead and say, can we get her like an ex-board member badge or something?
I survived Henry.
Yeah, exactly. It's impressive. I mean, she made it 2 years.
Yes, I know.
So, thank you very much, Mr. Patel. So the element I'll add there, as much as you all have said, of course, are congratulations to Ms. Patel, our other graduates, et cetera. I believe that, and the dates all kind of get smushed together for me with everything we've had going on, is Mr. Alker refers to a bit his pond issue, but and Dr. Blake Lewis's speed, but we also, I want to recognize, I think the last meeting I mentioned to you was the State Lions Foundation had approved matching money for the Meadowview Playground project, and the international meeting was to occur. International voted to fully match the fundraising, so that's nearly $100,000 that they're awarding to the Meadowview Playground project. So we will have communications throughout the summer about next steps there, kind of whether it be, I don't know, you can say fully groundbreaking when we've already got things going on there, but kind of a recognition of that additional support project, and the support from, the Lions Club locally, district, state, international, et cetera. They will have a Zoom meeting tonight at, I love that they stress 7 p.m. Chicago time, since that's where they're based. I and a few others will be there, and we'll be able to have more information for you related to that from there. But, you know, hey, that's almost $200,000 in support from, community and associated, clubs, resources, et cetera. So I'll point that out, and then, not to belabor anything else, we're next up to, reminders of dates. We do have our fiscal closeout meeting scheduled next week at 9 a.m., sorry. Given our track record, it could be 9 p.m. But, and then, this is our summer, schedule, so we'll be at 9 a.m. until, we're back in school. So, July and August are both set for 9 a.m. meetings. We do have, and I'll mention, you know, from boardgram, Dr. Blake Lewis noted about availability for a later July work session or retreat. So just wanted to present that, as well as as Mrs. Edwards noted to me, and I'm derelict as a former president of the VSBA, there is the Conference on Education next month. So I do certainly encourage that as well. The School Law Conference is great. Conference on Ed is a excellent opportunity, and we've had presenters there often. I know at least a few of you have been in there for that. So generally they'll have about 30 or so different divisions with little kind of mini work sessions to present on things in their area. So it's usually good to have more than one of us there, so you can kind of sample from what all's going on throughout Virginia. So just presenting that option to you, and that's later July, and also a factor to consider when we're booking that summer retreat leading into the new year. With that said, if no one else has anything for now, we are all the way up to closed session, although I gotta say that list of options is longer than what I've got in front of me. So is that correct?
It is correct. This is
Okay.
the correct list, yes.
All right, well then I'm gonna read from there since my computer's being funny too. We're gonna go 2.2. Yeah, well, is that on there?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
but I mean,
Well, I know, I was just going, I got 4 things, they got 6. So, we got 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia for the discussion of appointments and separations of personnel. 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia for the discussion and consideration of recommendations for special placement. 2.2-3711A7 of the Code of Virginia for consultation with legal counsel pertaining to actual probable litigation and discussion of pending legal matters. 22.1-60 and 22.1-60.1 for the appointment and term of the superintendent, certain contractual matters, and the evaluation of the superintendent. 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia for the discussion and consideration of religious exemptions. And, yes, 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia for the discussion of student matters. So I don't know that I've also seen 6 different reasons for us to go into closed session, but unless anyone else has anything, do I have a motion to that effect?
so move.
I have a motion by Mr. Gravely, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Edwards. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, we are unanimous, we are enclosed, and we are not moving.